My dear students, and I welcome you to the Moral Science class. This is Mrs. Noreen Danville, who is going to teach you moral science along with Pritpal sir, turn by turn. Now, I hope that you all might have purchased your moral science book, which is Pearls and Petals. And as you can see, I'm scrolling the book cover page, and I hope that you all will be having your moral science book when I'm taking the classes for you, because I'll be doing the reading from the book, which will not be displayed over there. Because of that, you need to open the book front of you and see it along when I'm reading it and explaining it. My dear students, when we people talk about Pearls and Petals, the moral science book, especially when I talk about moral science, as you can see, it is there right front of you, lessons in life skills and values. When it is moral science, generally students they think that it is something to be just taken for granted. But my dear students, you may become a very learned person by learning English, mathematics, science, physics, chemistry, biology, etc. etc. You might become a very literate person. But you know what is more important in life? More important in life is to be a good human being. And for being a good human being, you need to have values, moral values. So, this particular moral science is that branch of studies which tries to instill inside the students the very important factors of life, the various virtues which will turn you people into human beings, which will tell you how life is outside, which will tell you what life asks from you, how you will know what you want out of life, whether it is just money that you will extract out of your white collar job after doing some higher education, or whether it is something that will last for long, like humility, compassion, care, kindness, love. These are the various things that are imparted from this one branch of study. So, my dear students, I humbly request you never to give moral science an overlook and a kind of an ignoring type of a look, because it is the most important subject of all the subjects that you people study. As I said, maybe English, mathematics, physics, chemistry may be taught to you to the cleanest way, clearest way. It will be very crystal clear to you. But if you don't know how to treat a person, if you don't know how to value your life, if you don't know how to value your relations, my dear children, what is the use of living as a highly qualified person? You might have seen that many a times you will come across a person who seems to be like not so that very good looking and not that very properly dressed up, but he will be very humble in nature. When he opens mouth, you'll feel good talking to the person because he understands the other's feelings. He knows how to keep others happy. He knows what is good for himself and for others. And you will come across people who are very well dressed in well suited clothes, and then very handsome, good looking, or maybe very beautiful in looks. But when they open their mouth, their ego, their pride, their feeling of letting other people down in front of them could be very clearly seen. And then you will realize that maybe a person may look ugly, but if he is pure in heart, clear in heart, is having compassion, is a good human. He has actually fulfilled his existence, which is not done by the person who is very learned, very wealthy, but having nothing for others. This is what moral science teaches us. So, not taking much time of yours, I'll just move on to the next. That is the contents that are there for this particular year, this session of 2021. The chapters are goal setting, believe in yourself, effective time management, positive thinking, building character, watch your health, manners and etiquettes, the spirit of tolerance. All very beautiful chapters. Everything is very necessary for the overall growth or complete growth of a child. For you people are in that stage where a right guidance will shape your life, and a wrong thinking can spoil your entire life. Now that I'll continue with my teaching and explanation, we will be taking up the very first chapter, that is goal setting. Now, when we talk about goal setting, this is a very important part of a human life, and especially for you children. Now, like you can see, after doing your class 10, now that you are in 11th standard, you people have all chosen a particular stream. What is the purpose behind it? Like you have taken either commerce IP, or you have taken commerce maths, or maths IP, or bio IP, whatever it may be. You have taken a particular subject, a particular stream, either science or commerce. So there might be a purpose behind it. Yes, that purpose, that focusing on one thing is actually goal setting, And that goal setting we are going to read and understand in this very first chapter. I'm going to read the chapter, open the book and keep front of you. And my dear students, if you have not yet purchased, kindly purchase the book so that it will be convenient for you, because there will be examination for moral science as well. Chapter 1, Goal Setting. Read the following passage from Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. One day, Alice came to a fork in the road and saw a cat on a tree. "Which road do I take?" she asked. The cat's response was another question. "Where do you want to go?" "I do not know," Alice answered. "Then," said the cat, "it does not matter." Very true. As the Cheshire Cat said, if you do not know where you are going, any road will take you there. See, so beautiful start. Lewis Carroll, that book as well as the movie you people might have seen, or at least you might have heard about Alice in the Wonderland. Yeah, that little girl who turned very short, then very tall, and she came across all kind of weird and very surprising things. Yes, about that story I'm talking about. So one day it is said that Alice, she came to a fork in the road. You know what is a fork? It's not fork and spoon I'm talking about. Fork here means where two roads comes out and you just have to stand and think which road you want to catch up. So she stood over there near that particular place where two roads, means one road was cutting into two parts, two ways. She stood over there and she saw that near that bifurcation, means near that bifurcated road, one tree was there on which a cat was sitting down. She asked the cat, which road do I take? Means she asked for a decision from the cat that Alice should take which road. Now, to Alice's question, the cat was supposed to give an answer that I take this road or take this road goes to this place, this road goes to this place. But instead of that, the cat asked another question. You know what was the question? The question was, where do you want to go? Cat asked Alice, where you want to go? Alice answered, I do not know. Then the cat said, then it doesn't matter. Whichever road you want, you can take. This is what is life about. If I am not wrong, you might have studied the poem The Road Not Taken. In that also the same thing was there. Means here the cat wants to say to Alice that when you don't know which road you want to take, wherever it take you and go, what difference it makes? Isn't it true? Like, say for example, you came out of the house and you're just walking, you reached near a place. You don't know where you want to go. You're simply walking. You just came and stood in front of a place from where two roads are coming out. And then you stand over there and you think, which road I should take? But what is the use of thinking? Because you yourself don't know where you want to go. So wherever the road take, you just go. That is what the cat meant over here. If you don't know where you want to go, wherever the road take, just walk along. And that's what the suggestion was given to Alice. Now, my dear students, this time book I really admire because it is having certain activities for you people to perform at home. These activities will give you a kind of, you can say, time to think that what do you want to do out of life. But I would like to read it out first for you people. Now answer the following questions. Very beautiful thing is given over here. Listen carefully. First question is, journeying through life, have you ever found yourself asking the same question that Alice said? Which road do I take? When? How often? Now this first question. Let us just have a clear thought about it. In this first question, now you people are in 11th standard. My dear children, you have not seen that much of life. You're not having that much of experience. But still, you people are 10th pass. So at least that much years you have seen. Around some 14-15 years I'll catch up. If I leave the first 1 or 2 years of being very small kids, not understanding anything. During that time period, many a time you might have come across a situation in your life when you might have thought, where I want to go. And when I want to go. And how often I have passed through that place. Many a times it happens. I'm not talking about walking on a road. I'm talking about some decisions. The second question is, are you sure you know where you want to go in life? How? Very, very important. All of you are growing up. And growing up calls for a lot of things, Here the question is, are you sure you know where you want to go in life? How? Frankly speaking, out of all those who exist in this world, only a few are able to reach their destination which they have designed for themselves or they have dreamt for themselves. Very few are there. Because when we start walking in our life, we definitely want to reach somewhere very great, somewhere where we will be famous, somewhere where we will be something. But do we reach there? Then the next question is, do you believe it does matter? Why does it ever worry you? Now, you gave your class 10th exam. Many of you might have set a percentage as a goal, that I need to bag this much of percentage so that I can get this subject. Some of you might have succeeded, some might not have. So now those who haven't, does it matter to you? Do you feel bad? Yes, indeed we feel bad. After we have set something, if we don't get it, definitely it matters. It really worries us. The fourth question is, do you feel you're drifting away in life? What do you intend to do about it? Okay. This fourth question, that is, do you feel you are drifting away in life? What do you intend to do about it? My dear students, when you feel that the goal that you had set or the aim that you thought of, it it is not been fulfilled the way you wanted, do you feel that it is taking you away from life? Then if it is so, if you feel so, how you are planning to cover it up, how you are planning to get it back? That's what the question is about. Now let's have a little activity. This activity is being called as walking game. Okay, walking game, very nice one. You must do this. Like, the things are there in our life for which we can get a clear perspective when we just look it through some other angle. Now this activity, walking game, you might be thinking that what madam is going to ask us to do in this walking game. You don't have to do anything else. Just have to remain in the room where you are listening to me. And what you have to do, there are basically two things that you have to do, and then you have to introspect it. You know what is introspect? Introspect means you have to check it out yourself. What is the first one? The first one is walking aimlessly. Now, walking aimlessly. Here what you have to do is, I'll just let you know. All the students walk about in silence for 5 minutes. The area or space for them to walk in is already defined. It should not be too large. They must keep in touch with their feelings while they do their aimless walk. Now, as I said, this is not a very tough activity where you are sitting down and listening to me. Just get up from your place. Hold the mobile in your hand, or otherwise keep it down. No problem, no issues. Keep it down. And then, in that confined area of your room, don't you think anything that ma'am has given me an activity, I have to walk. Nothing. Aimlessly means you have got no thinking in your mind that I want to do this. Just without thinking, but keep in touch with your feeling. Keep in touch with your feeling. Feelings and thinkings, two different things, huh? And from one place to another for 5 minutes. Just walk. Without thinking, walk. Like as if though you have got nothing to do in your life. Nothing. A total zero. Okay? Then, this is the first one. And I want a basic answer from you people. I'll let you know how to do it. The second one is just the opposite of the first one. The first one, what you did? You walked aimlessly. Now, the second activity is to walk with an aim in your mind. Walking with an aim in mind. After the 5 minutes of walking aimlessly are over, what you have to do is, the students stop walking. Now they have to choose an aim for next 5 minutes of walking. This time they have to walk with a purpose. Their aim may be to meet a friend, to talk to someone, to see something, to do something concrete. They now walk for 5 minutes, keeping in touch with their feelings. Okay. Now, try to understand the difference between the two. First one is what? Walking aimlessly. In this, you are doing no thinking, but you are in touch with your feeling and walking in the room. The second work which I gave you is to walk with the aim in your mind. Means, after that 5 minutes of aimless walking, come and sit down. Relax. Then again get up. And again for next 5 minutes, walk in the same space where you have walked aimlessly. But this time, there should be something in your head what you want to do. You must be thinking about it. Like, you're walking and thinking, oh, I have to call so-and-so person and I have to ask these things and I have to inquire about it. Or otherwise, oh yes, I want to meet my uncle today and I have to go to his house. Something or the other you have to focus on. In the first case, we had nothing in our mind. In the second case, we have something to focus on. And then you have to focus on this and keeping in touch with your feelings, you have to walk. Now, two things you have done. After doing these two things, we have to do introspection. Means we have to study what we have done. So now our next step. The next step is personal reflection. Now when I talk about personal reflection, my dear children, the best thing, I believe this. I always tell my students, some of you I have taught earlier also, and you know that I often repeat this thing, that there are only two people in this world to whom you will never lie ever. One, you cannot lie to God because He knows everything. And the second one, even if you want, you cannot lie to yourself because you know what you are doing. Right or wrong is different, but you know that you have done it, or you're thinking of it, or you're going to do it. So you cannot tell lie to yourself. These are very two important things you have to remember in your life. So personal reflection means studying yourself, thinking what you have done. And now in personal reflection, what you have to do, there are certain questions that are raised up in this, which I would like you people to note down, and then you may prepare a few points of your own introspection, of your own study of yourself, of those two activities. These are something that you have to do on your own. And whenever the school reopens, when we meet again, I'll definitely take it down from you people, personally, from every person. Now in personal reflection, when the 5 minutes of purposeful walking is over, the students will sit and reflect in silence, all by themselves, on the questions given below. First question: what was the outcome of your aimless walking? Did you enjoy it? Why? What were your feelings? Yeah. So first one, you will first put up some points and write down what you felt, how you felt when you were walking aimlessly. Feelings. Did you enjoy it? To walk without anything in your head? With nothing? A total zero? Did you really enjoy it? That you have to mention. The second question is, what happens to people who live aimless lives? What do they accomplish? How do they feel about it? Now for that 5 minutes, when you walked aimlessly, you consider yourself to be a person without any aim in life. And then, how did you feel? When you had nothing to do in your life, you could not think anything of. You just think. You are an aimless person. Then how you felt? Whether it is a purposeful life, worthy of living? Then the third question: what was your experience when in the second part of the game you walked with a purpose in mind? Did it make any difference? Did it satisfy you? Why? Yeah. The third question. Third question is related to the second activity, where I asked you to walk with some aim, with some purpose in your mind. So how you felt? Whether it was different from walking aimlessly? Did you feel that you had some value in your life? Did you feel good from inside? Did you feel that, yes, I am worth something, I can do something? If it is so, why do you think you feel so? Then the fourth question, that is, what aim do you consider good enough to give meaning to our lives? Is there an aim worth living for and dying for? Which? Why? Now, this question might create a little confusion in your mind. It is that, what aim do you consider good enough to give meaning to our lives? When we talk about our lives, my dear children, basically, I don't think maximum of us even understand what life actually wants from us. When we all came to this planet Earth, took birth as humans, we all have been sent with a purpose. How many of we people are fulfilling that purpose? We ourselves don't know. So it is about that. You just have to think, what is the meaning of your life? Whether is there an aim worth living for and dying for? Means whether you have made your life filled with an aim which you consider that it is worth living as well as dying. Means you want to die for getting or reaching to that aim, and you want to live for reaching to that aim. A very contradictory type of statement, na? Living and dying both together, but that makes that aim worthful, no? That makes that aim, you can say, valuable. And then, have you ever thought that we have to think about? Now there is one small thing that is again to be a part of this activity, and that is called as group sharing. Now what you have to do in this group sharing, that we will just go through, and after this particular group sharing, I will bring an end to this video and we'll continue with the rest in the next. Group sharing by rotation, all the students will share their views on the points of the questionnaire. The teacher will moderate the general sharing and coordinate and synthesize the points and help the class to draw some practical conclusions therefrom. In the city of Dallas, USA, there is a law that forbids walking about aimlessly with no apparent purpose, lingering, sauntering, and moving slowly about. Going through life aimlessly leads one to many problems like frustration, boredom, and meaninglessness in life. Your life will be wasted. If it has no goal or purpose, a wise man once said, the greatest evil in life is to stand at the end of it and to realize that it was wasted. Wow, what a line. When life has an aim, it becomes bearable, meaningful, and interesting, even if there are difficulties and problems. Nietzsche said, if one knows the why of life, he will be able to live life anyhow. This para is really beautiful. Actually, in group sharing, what you have to do is that a rotation of the views have to be done among the students, but right now I cannot go for it. When the school opens, if we get a chance, definitely I'll go for it, so I'm skipping up that part. Instead of that, I'll just like to explain the law that is been there in the city of one of the city of USA, that is Dallas. It is given, there is a law that forbids means which do not permit, it do not permit to walk aimlessly. Means there is a law which tells that people, those who are without any aim, they are not permitted to walk, who are not having any purpose, and who just linger around, means without any reason, who just move about, sauntering, moving about, and moving slowly about. Means what I mean to say is that this one of the city of USA, there is a law which forbids, which prevents walking aimlessly of people who are having no purpose, who just keep on roaming about here and there in slow pace. Then another one, it has been said, if there is no aim in life, your life is just a mess, full of frustration. What to do? That is a question that rises. Frustration, meaningless, totally filled with boredom. And one wise man had said, the greatest evil in life is to stand at the end of it and to realize that it was wasted. I would like to explain this in Hindi. It is said, the greatest evil in life is to stand at the end of it. It means सबसे बुरी चीज़ किसी की ज़िंदगी में, सबसे अगर बुरा समय किसी की ज़िंदगी में आता है या मोमेंट आता है किसी की ज़िंदगी में, तो वो तब है जब वो ज़िंदगी के आखिरी पड़ाव पे खड़ा हो और उसे ये महसूस हो कि उसने तो अपनी सारी ज़िंदगी बर्बाद की, उसने अपनी सारी ज़िंदगी सिर्फ वेस्ट की है, कुछ नहीं किया अपनी ज़िंदगी से. And that is the worst part. Then further, it has been said, if you have an aim in your life is meaningful, interesting. Though there will be difficulties and problems, after all, life is not bed of roses. Then it has been said by Nietzsche, said, if one knows the why of life, he will be able to live anyhow. That's true, very true. अगर आपको ये पता हो कि ज़िंदगी में क्यों क्यों होता है, थोड़ा सा अजीब लगेगा. That if you know why there are whys in life, question marks in life, you will be able to live the life at any cost. This is what life is all about. In the next class, we will be continuing with the rest of the chapter, in which we will come across what is a goal, some types of goals which are mentioned in the book. And if you haven't purchased the book, my dear students, please, my humble request, purchase the book. Really very interesting the chapters are this time. I go for the next.